welcome. This is the CALPADS office hours for the post redesign project. We are light staff today. We are missing Paula Mishima, Brandy, and Martha are all out today. I believe Shayna from the CALPADS operation office is going to be joining us. Have you seen her pop in yet, Marshall?
Not yet. I'm still looking.
So where did we leave off? Wednesday. I told you our deployment was delayed, and it was. It did go in yesterday at noon. It didn't require an outage, and so they just went ahead and deployed almost everything. But there was a little bit of fallout. We had some excitement. Some days it feels like we're getting a little bit trolled. So SPED 546 came back, or yes, 546 came back yesterday after the deployment, and that was unfortunate, but I believe it's fixed now. To compound things, we're having problems with Microsoft and Azure to update this known issues list. So it was last updated this morning. So 546 is still listed as a new bug on this list, but it is resolved. And then we also added a new one a little bit ago today, SPED 538, which was one that was fixed a while ago, has also resurfaced. And that one's not on the list yet, but it will be on the next deployment. So in terms of what went in, the fixes are at the top of the screen and with the date of 5/19. And one is missing, 585, I believe. Yes, this is one that was highly anticipated. It says fix available. It's actually fix implemented. And we had several CELA IVR fixes go in, but there's still some outstanding issues. So I'm hesitant to update the PM tickets. And so the problem management tickets, to tell you they're fixed. I don't want to get your hopes up because there's still other outstanding issues with CELA. And so I'm just hanging on to those. So they'll say fix available on this screen. And so in some particular scenarios, it may work. Others, we're still getting, GER 5 or CELA 281. So TBD on that. I think that was the extent of my updates. So I've been through just listing through all of my updates. Do you have anything you want to say about TOMS?
The update that I got earlier this morning is that they are working on the data migration fix and are hoping to get that out this evening. So hopefully all that goes well, and we will, have resolution to some of the ELAS status issues, or hopefully all of the ELAS status issues. So.
Okay, and do you know if that includes the TBDs that went missing?
I believe it should include the TBDs.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. If you're new, please number your questions, Q1, Q2. We'll try to get through everybody's Q1s at least. So we're going to start off with K. When a mid was resolved, not all of the enrollment records came through. The student's record only has PS and KN records and is currently an 11th grader who still needs to be tested. Should I add the current enrollment record for this year, or will that cause other problems? The retired SSID is still in use in the SIS and was valid on census day. The student is special ed and the testing coordinator wants to know when this can be resolved. So a few things going on there. We do have a bug on that. What I heard from the developer is that he's got a fix for the problem. It doesn't happen when you, always when you merge. It happens, there's some kind of exception that happens occasionally when merging a mid, where we lose all of the historic data. So part A is fixed. Part B of that bug is the cleanup. So to go fix what happened to UK and restore that student's history. If it's urgent, and it sounds like it is because the student needs to get tested, I would go ahead and add their current enrollment of where they need to be right now so that they can take the test. And I don't think that will cause a problem when they do the data cleanup. Okay, next question is Angela Mata. Has the known issue 5984 regarding SCNR 585 been fixed? Earlier today, I was finally able to upload a complete SCNR file with mid-year grads. Yay! I did not need to delete the text lines with the completers on there, the grads. Yeah, it did get fixed. It's inaccurate on this list, but it is now fixed. So that's good. Aaron, Q1. I know it's been reviewed, but will there be an official flash coming out perhaps next week? I know they originally said at the end of the week, but I'm guessing things are still in review. Is that for the end of year, Erin, that you're asking about, the new deadline? Or the new processes in terms of exiting students in separate files?
I think the latter, Angela.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I thought it would have been out by now, Erin. Shayna, have you seen a copy of it lately?
Yeah, we're still working through some things and making sure we have all of the information documented correctly. So yeah, hopefully it'll be out early next week. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
yeah, I know it's been difficult for the business side, just for Erin and company to know, we're kind of learning as we go. There's not a lot of documentation, right. And so we're trying to kind of document the as-built. Not ideal.
Right.
Okay, Kay's got a Q2. We'll come back to you. Those PM numbers don't mean a whole lot, Kyron. Well, maybe some people got them memorized. He posted a list of all the ones that are fixed.
I attached a note text file at the bottom.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Hey, Jerry, Q1. Hi, Angela. What is the guidance for a new situation we've noticed in CALPADS regarding entering a graduate after they've been subsequently enrolled at another LEA? We have a student who graduated on March 30th from our LEA, but has an enrollment in CALPADS at a juvenile court school on April 19th. When we try to add the E230-100 exit for March 30, 2022, we received the 585 error. Now that the redesign system won't let us update the exit to E230-100, what does the CDE CSIS advise? Thanks. I wonder if you had tried that today, Jerry, because that we did have a bug on 585 and that is fixed now. Although I think the bug or the error you're saying is specifically right. You can't have a subsequent enrollment. Can we search by errors, Kyron?
We should.
No. Anyway, Jerry, I'd say try again today. If it still happens, send in a ticket and we'll figure out that the court school may not have or should not have and re-enrolled them possibly. So we'll look into that. Okay, Brenna, at the risk of beating a dead horse, is there any update to when the SPED reporting known issues will be resolved? Also, the issue with deleting SPED files. Because of the known issues, LEAs have accidentally reported things out of order. So we need to have the ability to delete SPED files in CALPADS and resubmit in the right chronological order. Thank you. Yeah, there were some SPED fixes that went in yesterday at noon. So check the fix implemented list. I know the one to delete SPED and SSRV files is still outstanding, but it is on the priority list, so coming soon. Okay, Erin, clarifying, yeah, it was for the latter. Alex, it's a huge help. We know, we love Alex. Soraya, how are short-term independent study, less than 15 days, students reported in the STAS file?
I'm actually searching for it for STAS right now.
I don't think we do. I don't think that's a field. I think if this is for the AB 130, I think it's derived out of just the independent study days, non-ADA and ADA combined, from my understanding. But it's not, there's no field in STAS that says less than 15 days independent study.
Okay, so Jerry's following up that Kyle said it was triggering correctly. I would think that court school should probably delete the enrollment. Do you analysts agree with me? If the student is a graduate, the court school shouldn't re-enroll them.
I agree.
Right.
That if they're re-enrolling the student at some point, they're not going to be receiving a high school education if they're already a high school graduate.
Right, exactly. So Jerry, had you gotten your grad info in earlier, they wouldn't have been able to re-enroll. There's a separate IBR for that one. So in the meantime, I would contact that other LEA and say that the student is a high school graduate and just should not have enrollment in CALPADS. Okay, already we're going to jump back up to Q2s. Okay, K at 3:05. I just did a big boo-boo. I retrieved an SSID for a student that just enrolled today and used the wrong entry date of next year's beginning date. He needs the LPAC. Yikes, what do I do? Put in a ticket? Retrieved an SSID. If it's not a brand new student, delete the enrollment and then replace it with your correct enrollment date. If it is the only enrollment record K, the one thing you can do is mark it as an N470 no-show and put the start date as the exit date. And then you should be able to backfill and put in the correct enrollment for this school year. Okay, question 2 from Angela Mata. Are there any updates from the developers on SPRG GER 5? Is that one not included? Yeah, it's still being worked on, Angela. Sorry about that. So our next release would be Wednesday, next Wednesday. Hey, Soraya Q2. Sorry if I asked before, joined late. Oh, if asked before. Are there delays with the CALPADS to Tom's data flow? An RFEP that was entered on 5/13 has not been updated in Tom's as of today. So I would have thought that would have been in by now. Do you agree, Shayna?
Yeah, I know they're still doing their schedule where they're posting on Mondays and Fridays, I believe. So, but yeah, 5/13 should have been in there. I also know if there's issues with the accuracy of their ELAS status, that the ETS and TOMS people are removing those in the field. So they're not updating those records because they have invalid statuses. So I don't know if that's what's going on, and that it's not updating because they're taking those records out. But yeah.
So it's, yeah, I see what you're saying. It's kind of tangled up in that migration issue
Right.
if for some reason that student had an EO, an EL, and an RFEP in their history, it's possible that the EO got picked up and then by TOMS, and then you can't go from EO to RFEP. So that could be related. So check on Monday. It sounds like they're working over the weekend to try and resolve some of those issues.
Angela, Jerry had a question at 3:07 at Q2.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, Jerry. Do you know if there are any issues with the password reset functionality with the redesign? As an admin, I've created a view-only account for a colleague. However, they aren't receiving the auto-generated emails when I try to reset their password. I just thought I'd check to make sure if this might be an issue with the redesign. I've been able to reset my own password, Jerry. Check and see. I'm sure you've already checked their spam folders, but I also have a rule set up for all those emails to go into a specific folder. And even I forget sometimes that I do that, and I think, well, where's that email? So maybe they have already auto forwarded that email to somewhere else in their system. And has anybody else experienced any reset problems? Alex is shaking her head no. Okay, so Kay has having issues. She can't put in the exit date because it's greater than 30 days from now. And Terry has a good workaround for you. Try to add another enrollment. It's gonna, if you leave it as an open enrollment, a new one, it's gonna give you this SENR 27. So you could do a fake just N470 for, you know, May or August 2021 to August 2nd, 2021, and N470 that, and then it'll allow you to delete the 2022 enrollment that you're trying to get rid of, and then you can go back and fix the this year's enrollment, if that makes sense. Larnie, if the enrollment of a student with disabilities in private school state code 002 still, oh, is it? Sorry, my eyes are giving out, guys. Sorry, guys. Having a hard time reading the text. Still appropriate, or are we all supposed to enroll them now under the district level? what is the difference between these two levels of enrollment as well as NPS? Thanks. Well, the rules haven't changed, so whatever you were doing last year continues to do this year. We have that document, Larnie, that you can walk yourself through to figure out which scenario they belong to. Here it is, this link. You scroll down, I'll put this in chat. This Excel document down here at the bottom, reporting data for students with disabilities. It's got like 15 different scenarios on it, and it'll lead you to which school of enrollment you're supposed to put the special ed student at and which enrollment status code. Okay, so Kay didn't get all of that. Right, Kay, so I was saying, since you can't future end date the next year enrollment, add a 21-22 enrollment for this school year as an N470. So open and close it and in one transaction. And then now that you have two enrollment records, the system will allow you to delete the other one. So then delete the 2022 enrollment and then go back and take the N470 exit information off the 21-22. Angelina, question 1, are all the ODS reports pulling data from previous years? I know the 5.1 has previous year students. That would be news to me. Has anybody else seen that? So Denise, if you feel like you have students that are on that, any report, a specific report, let us know in a ticket and we will investigate that for you. Jessica, hi, I'm sorry I'm late. Is it confirmed that the SPED 546 error is back to incorrectly triggering? Well, that was a fun one. It came back yesterday after the deployment, and then it got fixed last night. But we're also having problems with Microsoft and Azure, so we're not able to update the known issues. So it says active on the current known issue list. It's at the top. There it is, number 1 on the list, but it is actually fixed. So go ahead and update or send up your SPED records.
Angela, I think there was a mix-up. Something must have scrolled because Denise actually had a Q1 that I don't think you read from 321.
Okay. Yes, you're right. I told you guys my eyes were going out. I'm gonna have to have you guys answer the questions from now on. I can't see, and I don't know how to make it bigger in Zoom. Maybe Marshall can school me on that. Denise, our LEA's attendance for 6th to 12th grades is tracked by periods in the STAS file. Should we set the period by period attendance method indicator? Nate and Kyron, you're on deck for the EOI questions today.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the
It's in the user
user
manual in the
yeah.
CFS, and that's exactly what you would do.
Where did you find it in the user manual?
It's in the under STAS, but it doesn't really, it just says it's required, but it doesn't give a explanation how it's implemented. But then it's pretty, if you scroll at the bottom, so I was trying to look at the CFS if there's additional details.
Not much. It just says an
Not
indication of whether or not the student's attendance is reported using period by period attendance by converting periods of attendance into days of attendance when reporting attendance.
There's something in the data guide that's a little more descriptive.
Has that been updated? This is a new field.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
Okay, Denise, I feel like we didn't really answer that thoroughly. So if you want to put in a ticket, we can run it by CDE and get a little more clarification since the data guide is out of date as well. Okay, Brittany, Q1. When the discrepancy reports become available, will these include things that were submission warnings in the past? I have been manually checking each IEP for it if it was overdue and needs a delay code or has a delay code when it should. And I am missing the warnings. Okay, that did that before for me. I I'm hoping that they will be back when the reports become available. Yeah, so any input validation rule, IVR, that was a warning prior to post redesign is now not happening at input. It'll happen on the data discrepancy screen. So once that screen becomes available, you can also check your overdues on 16.8, right? Unless we're having problems with that I'm not
There
aware
were a lot of bugs before the redesign.
of. That's true.
So yeah.
So you could try these, Brittany, and see how far you get with the 16.7 and 16.8. Those are under reports, accountability monitoring reports. Hey, Terry, looking ahead, are there steps in place where LEAs may correct 21-22 data in 2022, 23, 23 due to the redesign if data was overwritten or removed, et cetera? I'm concerned the impact this may have on our longitudinal data and the time LEAs will have to resolve any outstanding issues. So I think you're asking next year, are you going to be able to go back and fix this year's data? And the answer is yes, that's the intent, that you should be able to still make corrections in the future if you need to on historical records. Yeah, Denise checked the data guide for that, and it won't be in there, Denise. It's data guide's really out of date. Question 1 from Rebecca. I asked another LEA to delete an incorrect CELA entry of EO when the student was originally an EL. She is attempting to delete the incorrect record, but the system will not permit. Are there any bugs or known issues on this, or are we allowed to delete incorrect entries? If not, then how will she resolve this? There is a known issue, but I have a workaround for you. So let's go find it first. So this is what it looks like nowadays, is what we found this last week or two, that when you try to delete, it looks like it's successful. And even when you go to the view submission detail screen, it says it posted, but the record is not deleted. So if you put in a ticket with the SSID and tell us which one needs to be removed, which CELA record, we can ask somebody to do that for you. We'll have one of our DBAs help out, assuming that student is needing to be tested. Okay, no additional info about this field. You're right. So Denise, go ahead and put in a ticket and we'll get CDE to weigh in on the period by period attendance for you. Okay, Brittany's got some follow-up about 16.8 does not show the most current meeting was overdue, just if it was overdue at this time. She already uses that report. Okay. Okay, still having trouble with that, clearing up that enrollment. So, okay, go ahead and put in a ticket for me. I'll see if I can figure out how to clear that up for you, and include those job IDs, please. I won't have access to this chat. Okay, Brittany Q2, problem 6095 regarding SPED 434 is the last of the known issues affecting SPED records for students who are testing right now. Any ETA on when that one will be fixed? Okay, so it's a high. That makes me think it's probably in the next round. So Wednesday would be the soonest, Brittany. Stephanie, was that regarding the EL? She's asking if, even if we don't own the student. The answer is it depends. Well, we have to work with you on a case-by-case basis. And again, a lot of this has to do with the migration issue where the records got shuffled around, and it looks correct in CALPADS now, but apparently it's still shuffled in the TOMS export. And so if that gets fixed over the weekend, by Monday morning, you should be able to log in and have those kids show up correctly in TOMS. Rebecca, as always, you guys are great. Thank you. Thanks, Rebecca. That's nice. Pam, I have several kiddos on my state testing list that are no longer with us. Do students with an E140 drop off the state listing list? I've sent a few of those tickets up, Shayna, up to Ananya. Do you know what causes that? The kids who had exited, sometimes they exited a long time ago, and people are saying they're still showing up as on TONS as expected to be tested.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to look into that a little bit more.
Thanks. Am I missing anybody, Gary? You're my backup eyes.
No, I think you got everybody.
So Pam, if you want to put in a ticket, include a couple SSIDs for us, and we'll escalate that up. Okay, Kyron, play us out. Do they know about your rapping, Kyron?
We don't want them to hear.
Yeah, he rapped for everybody at our Christmas party this year.
They need to be part of CSIS to hear me.
Next year, I'm going to stealthily record it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Oh, so Kyron, did you look at Kay's transaction? And that's where you saw that she got the SENR 180?
Yes, she got
Okay,
that.
shoot. Okay, so sorry, Kay. Well, but she needs to test that student. So we have to figure something out. Post it in the FICMAT YouTube. Ethan, eagerly awaiting the Kyron Brandy collab. That would be awesome. Angelina Q2. Is the CFS XML schema going to be updated or changed, or will that be the same? It's probably a little bit out of date, I would think. Not related to post redesign though, just maybe I'd have to check. Do you guys know off the top of your head, Kyron or Paul or anybody?
If they're changing the format, I don't think so.
Oh, well, if the CFS is up to date with like STAS file format changes for the XML schema.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for STAS, it's updated.
Okay, so then no more changes to the schema, Angelina. Yeah, Sean says there's probably a Marshall or Nate has a recording. I'm surprised, yeah, those two didn't stealthily record it.
Oh yeah, we do. So come to the training.
We managers give out pretty nice prizes for that we do some games at our holiday parties, and so Kyron kind of went above and beyond to make sure his team got on the list.
So Angelo, about your chat problem that you were having, making the font size larger, all you got to do is just hold down the control key and hit the plus key at the same time, and that'll make it larger, or the minus will make it larger.
I was using my mouse, but you know how you can do that on the screen.
Yeah, it just scrolls. Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
That looks better. And I was lamenting, I've switched all my apps that I could to dark mode because that seemed to help quite a bit, but darn, CALPADS and then our service desk tracking system both don't offer that option. So those are the two apps I use the most. Aaron, you need one of those phones with the large numbers. Isn't that the truth, man? We don't have any more new questions. I didn't have a backup song to play us out.
Go ahead, Marshall.
Go ahead.
Q3 from Kay. When will there be the additional field for the separate parent ed levels? My boss is freaking out about this issue. Well, we usually do the updates the new academic year. Did I hear some chatter about that, Shayna? About parent ed level? There's nothing changing on that on the horizon, right?
I'm not sure.
So usually that it happens, Kay, after July. Stephanie, does anyone know where to get good information on Program 162 pregnant parenting requirements?
I'm trying to search them.
It's my understanding there are no requirements because the state doesn't fund the program. However, pregnant parenting students by law are entitled to have the same education as any other students, whether it's an independent study type program or if they're allowed to come to regular school. And so it's tracked for CTE in end of year 1. And if you have any students receiving an education as a parent or pregnant, they should be reported with the program code. There are no requirements for the services or education provided.
Okay, hopefully that helps, Stephanie. Yeah, I'm holding that against you, Ethan. Okay, Alex, Q1, is there a chance 6066 could increase in severity? Incorrect enrollment start dates and the inability to fix them are affecting SPED from finding a valid SCNR. I know, I just heard the tester working on that today, so we can bump it up, but I think it's coming in the next release anyway. It defaults to medium, and so if we forget to mark it on the problem, I know it's higher on the list that their developers are picking from. So I think that's, we could still bump it up here though. Gary, if you want to grab that and mark it as a high.
Doing it right now.
Thank you. Rebecca's Olson says school's out for summer. Is that our song? Have a great weekend. Aaron says we need to report parent ed levels starting September. Right, I think she was asking about the file formats that we do that at the end of the academic year. Yeah, Kay, you're going to be on your first day of retirement on July 1st, won't you? Sean says the pregnant parent attendance has something special for both mother and father as they can't be penalized too. Nate, do you recall the specifics?
As far as having something special?
You beat me to it, Kyron.
Yeah, what I could offer is how to, I mean, with regards to paternity leave or pregnant leave or parental leave as a student parent, there's Flash 148.
And 6066 was already bumped up to a high in VSO. It just hadn't been updated in the
That's
PM
what I
today.
figured. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we kind of have two tracks for watching those bugs. One is external for you guys and one is internal for our dev and testers. And I thought I had seen it pretty high on the list for the dev and
It
testing.
looks like the developer has marked it as resolved. So that means it's in testing, right?
Yep. That matches what I remember from all the way back this morning.
It's if you scroll further down, there's that paternity or parental leave guidance.
Paternity. Is it this one?
Yeah, and that probably applies for moms too.
Okay, question one. I think you might have already said, so sorry if I'm repeating. When will we be able to delete SPED data from CALPADS manually? I don't think I gave a specific date because I don't have one. It's one of those that's high on the list to be worked on. Both SPED and SSRB in online maintenance, if you try to delete it, it just kind of spins. It doesn't actually do anything. Has anybody tried to do a batch delete?
I just did today. It worked.
It worked. Okay, so workaround. Send it via batch. But yeah, I know you guys like to use online maintenance too. So, okay, she's retiring at the end of June. She just got a new lawnmower. Her new job is that's all the lawn and garden work. That sounds amazing. Okay, jealous. Javier, is there a problem? Is there an update on problem 6098? So fix available, that one, I think that one fell in with the Sella. Javier, did you get that today? I think part of this fix went in on Wednesday, or there's, excuse me, Thursday. And I think this is when I was hesitant to update the ticket because I was still seeing some other problems. And again, I don't like to give you guys false hope if it's not all the way fixed. Okay, Brittany says batch works for sped delete. That's great. Brenna, how can we do a batch delete? Are there instructions somewhere? Check with your SEDS vendor, Brenna. They should have a way to indicate that your intention is to send up a D transaction, which is a delete. Same question. Brittany, OM is significantly easier for deleting SPED, but batch does work. I did several this morning. Yeah. Okay, so Javier says yes, he got that today. So just so you know the logic behind my thinking here, I saw that they put some code in. I wasn't confident that it was all the way fixed, and so there are other outstanding issues still. Okay, so Corey, who is at ASELPA, the SPED people don't have access to do batch deletes, and we can't do them through the API. We would have to ask our CALPADS people to help us. Okay, got it. Thanks, Corey. Help is coming soon, I promise. Child, things are going to get easier. Yeah, Brittany's used a template to create the files. You can do that. It's not ideal, especially for SEDS. We want you to be sending through the API, but these are not normal times, and I think everybody acknowledges that. So you can download that file and put your data in there. The second column is transaction type, and if you put a D in that field, it means that you're trying to delete that record that's in the file. And Corey says, at least we can't through CSIS, maybe other SEDS vendors. I didn't know that about CSIS. Did you guys, Alex, Gary, that you couldn't batch delete?
I was unaware of that.
I always use the template. Of course, I don't have access to CSIS.
Well, and normally it works in OM, right? So it kind of flies below our radar. We don't really know what people are doing. Don't think about CalPads this weekend. Try not to. Certainly glad it's Friday, and I bet you guys are as well. Most of us are done, Stephanie says, for the week. Have a great weekend. You too, Stephanie. We will be back on Monday for more office hours. I am going to.
And I agree, Aaron, it is time to check out, huh?
Pool time.
Yeah.
Can't do that here in Sacramento. It's we have like gale force winds out there right now. You're gonna get knocked on the head by a tree branch.
Or we could get a surfboard out. So I'm not seeing any more questions, Angela. You want to give them back 10 minutes?
That works for me. I've got plenty of work to do.
Me too. Okay, guys, I'll go ahead and take it from here. You guys have a great weekend.
Thank you so much. Talk to you next week.